All right, let's talk punctuation. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Tedious rules, right? But what if I told you it's not about rules at all? What if it's actually a precision toolkit? That's what we're going to explore today. How to use punctuation to make your scientific communication incredibly sharp, clear, and just impactful. And this quote, it just nails it. In science, ambiguity is your worst enemy, right? Every single variable, every result, every conclusion, it all has to be communicated with absolute precision. So, punctuation? It's not just some fancy decoration on the page. No, it's the actual structure, the skeleton that holds your arguments together and, makes them make sense. So that's the big question, isn't it? How do we actually use these tools with precision? I mean, it's one thing to know they exist, but it's a whole other game to use them effectively. So that's our mission today. We are going to build your punctuation toolkit from the ground up. I'll show you exactly which tool to grab for which job so you can start building arguments that are both crystal clear and really compelling. Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to start with the two most fundamental tools in the entire kit. Think of these as the absolute workhorses of punctuation. Mastering them? That's your first big step to finally getting rid of those super long, confusing sentences. Now, this might sound way too simple, but it is so true. When it comes to readability, the period is your absolute best friend. You know those sentences that just turn into a tangled maze of clauses all strung together with commas? Well, the easiest and honestly the most elegant solution is just to stop. Period. End the sentence. Start a new one. It's that simple. And just look at the difference here. It is immediate and it is powerful. That before example, it's an absolute beast, a 50-word marathon that makes your reader try to juggle a bunch of concepts all at once. But now, look at the after. Just by adding one simple period, we get two clear, digestible thoughts. The first one sets up the main idea, and the second one builds on it. It's the exact same information, but it's just so much easier to process. All right, next up, the super versatile comma. Now, this one does a lot of different jobs, so it's really easy to get tripped up. But this breakdown here lays it out perfectly into 5 key functions. I want you to think of it like a Swiss Army knife for writing. It can separate an intro from the main point. It can join two complete thoughts together with a word like and or but. It organizes lists, separates adjectives, and it can even set aside little bits of extra non-essential info. Okay, so we've got the basics down. Now let's build on that and move to the connectors. These are the punctuation marks that let you create more sophisticated, more interesting links between your ideas. First up is the semicolon. Now, this is a bit of a specialized tool. Think of it as stronger than a comma, but not quite as final as a period. Its main gig is to show a really close relationship between two complete sentences, without needing a connecting word like and or because. Its other big job? Bringing order to really messy, complex lists. And we're about to see just how it does that. And here we go. This is a perfect illustration of that second function. Just look at this list. Each of the main bullet points already has commas inside it. Now imagine if we tried to separate these 3 big steps with just more commas. It would be a total mess, right? Impossible to read. But the semicolon, it acts like a super comma, creating these clean, high-level divisions. It makes it super easy for the reader to see the 3 distinct stages of the process. So clear. Okay, now for the colon. Its job is actually pretty simple. It's a signpost. It basically tells your reader, hey, pay attention. What you've been waiting for is coming up right now. It builds this little moment of anticipation, whether you're about to drop a list, a quote, or a big explanation. But, and this is a big but, here's the common trap: knowing when not to use a colon. This table right here is an awesome cheat sheet for that. The basic rule is this: if your sentence flows naturally into a list without needing a hard stop, you probably don't need a colon. So you'd never stick one right after a verb or a preposition or after a phrase like such as. The key is that the sentence has to feel complete before you get to the colon. Okay, so let's check out a tool that gives your writing a totally different kind of power. We're not just talking about structure or connection anymore. This is about deliberately grabbing your reader's focus and putting a spotlight on a key piece of information. And this comparison just captures the nuance perfectly. See, both dashes and parentheses set information apart from the rest of the sentence. But man, they send totally different signals. Parentheses kind of whisper. They're like a little side, something less critical. But dashes shout. When you use a dash, you're making a very conscious choice to say, hey, look over here. This part is really, really important. And here's a great pro tip right from the source material. Just because a tool is powerful doesn't mean you should use it all the time. If you overuse dashes, your writing can start to feel really choppy, almost breathless. So the key is to save them for those moments when you really want to create that pop of emphasis. You've got to use them strategically.
All right, we've gone through the main tools in our punctuation kit. Before we do a final recap, let's put your newfound eye for precision to the test. Just a quick, fun little challenge.
So this is a fantastic little puzzle about precision that's actually pulled straight from a footnote in the source. Take a look at that title for a second. Toward a good scientific writing. Does anything about that feel a little off to you?
And there it is. The word writing, when you're talking about it as a general concept, is an uncountable noun. It's just like water or information. You'd never say a water, right? Well, for the same reason, you shouldn't say a writing. The correct title should just be Toward Good Scientific Writing. It's a really subtle point, but it's all about that precision in language.
So let's do a quick recap of the awesome toolkit we've put together today. The period, your tool for clarity and keeping things short. The comma, your go-to guide for sentence structure. The semicolon, your specialist for those tricky lists and connecting closely related ideas. The colon, that's your announcer telling everyone what's next. And the M dash, that's your power tool for emphasis. See, each one has a very specific and very important job to do.
And in the end, it really all boils down to this one question. Of course, the quality of your research matters, a ton. But you know what? The quality of how you communicate that research matters just as much. By really mastering this toolkit, you're not just fixing grammar mistakes. You're making sure that all your hard work gets presented with the clarity and the impact that it truly deserves. So the choice is really up to you.